Hey everyone, welcome back to another Persona 5 Fighters video. In today's video, well, we have the newest character, Seaside Tomoko, Summer Tomoko, Summer Moko, S.Moko, S.Moko, however you want to call her, just came out today. And in today's video, we are going to go over, well, how she works, her abilities, her awarenesses, whether or not her dupes, weapon, etc. are worth it, whether she's worth it, etc., and how to build her. So first things first, let's go over her, well, A0, which Alright, so when I'm looking at her A0 called Summer Reminiscence, all it does is that when allies act, she will produce sparks onto the foes. And once there's 3 sparks onto the foe, she will then do a follow-up attack called a Resonance, doing 90% of attack damage and decreasing the target's damage by 30%. So they do 30% less damage to you. And then she also heals your team for 9% of her attack, plus a flat amount. And then, of course, the follow-up damage will do more damage the less enemies are on the field. So at 3 or more enemies present, it only does 100%. 2 will do 120, and at 1 will do 150. And it doesn't do any down damage, so it doesn't take away the down gauge from it. She is a really easy to use character, where really she works exactly like Marion, where all we're doing is using skill 2 into skill 3 over and over again. Because what her skill 2 does, which is Hail Summer Days, restores one ally's HP by 22.4% of Seaside Tomoko's attack, plus 1437. But when you also include her passive Soothing Waves, when activating Hail Summer Days, increase the main target's max HP by 1800 for 2 turns, and restore HP out of the ally with the lowest HP equal to 60% of skill healing. So really it heals twice, even though one is for less. Just like Marion's second skill does as well. And for 2 turns, increase the target. So whoever you target, you have to specifically choose who to target. So realistically, your main damage dealer. Increase the target's attack by 14.6%, their ailment accuracy by 58.6%, and damage by 30%. Also, increase attack up to 22.5% based upon 25% of the target's ailment accuracy. So at a max stack of 90%. And also inflict one spark stack for each time skill damage is dealt to a foe. So all you do is you focus your main damage dealer. You give them a bunch of attack. Altogether, I think it's around 30 to 40% bonus between this and as well as the 22.5%. Oh yeah, it is 37.5%, I should say. But that's depending upon them having 90%. But when you include the fact that they already get a 58.6%, this is of course at max rank. You need to have this max rank. I recommend getting this to max rank whenever you can if you so choose to pull her. But even with this 58.6%, this still is giving like what was it, like 15%. So even with just this alone, even if you have no other ailment accuracy, this is a 30% attack bonus. Nothing to scoff at really. And then you use skill 3, where it's skill 3, which is Sparking Memories, deal side damage to all foes equal to 61% of attack. For 2 turns, increases foes' damage taken by 19.5%. So as you can see here, this lasts for 2 turns, and then this also lasts for 2 turns. So that's why you do skill 2 into skill 3. You give the damage bonus and the attack bonus onto your main damage dealer, and then you use skill 3 to increase their damage taken. Of course, you want this to level 10. Because that's where you maximize the amount. If you don't, you will have less, of course. And have a cool drink. You don't really use this ability. It's more so because of its passive, which is why it's important to also level up to 10. Where increases Summer Resonance skill damage multiplier and healing by 51.7%. And that's why you also need to have that leveled up. I recommend honestly having all 3 of these. All 3 of these are important to level up as soon as you can. You want to keep them leveled up uniformly, in my opinion. While her Thief Tactics or her highlight is really, you can honestly leave it at level 1 in my opinion, because you're really never going to use it that often. I'm going to be honest with you, because all it does a little bit of side damage. Of course, you'll probably want to level it up anyway, just especially if you pull her and help you out with your Velvet Trials, or anytime you want to help knock down enemies who are weak to Psy. But other than that, no, you're not really, you're never really using it, because all it does is just do weak damage. And Summer Tomoko, just like Marion, would I want to level up Marion's skill 1? No, it doesn't do much. Because realistically, once you get to A1 Marion, all you're using skill 2 and skill 3. Just like on S.Moko, all you're using skill 2 and skill 3. And then lastly, her last talent, Power of Memories. During battle, increase Seaside Tomoko's damage and max HP based upon her HP recovery. When HP recovery is at up to 42%, sorry. And increase side damage by 70% and max HP by 2100. I'm gonna be real, getting this 42% is not hard. Realistically speaking, if you have her 5-star weapon plus a bonus healing on her moon card. And then next up, I'm going to be talking about her awarenesses. Realistically, I'm going to tell you, she's perfectly fine at A0. Just A0 by herself, she works perfectly fine. She is honestly pretty optimal. But what her A1 does, which is why I got it purely for this Hail Summer Days healing effect applies to all allies. This just makes it so I want to be real, this makes it so I can AFK harder. I don't have to play the game more. I'm gonna be real, that's why I got it. And then it also gives her each time a foe receives a Summer Remnants effect. Decrease the foe's defense by 15% for 3 turns, and it stacks up to 3 times. So this is a 45% defense decrease. It's nice, not needed. I got it because I am a AFK Lord. I throw it on full auto, and I can walk away as much as I want. If you guys have seen me play the game on my streams, you guys would know this by now. But that's why I got it. You definitely do not need A1. I'm going to tell you right now. And I'm going to show you guys another video, probably to Saturday, I think, is when it's coming out. But A1 is not needed. It's a little bit of a damage bonus, but not much overall. A2, every 2 times a Summer Revenant's effect is activated, inflict 1 spark stack on a random foe. So it allows you to do more, to get more spark stacks going. And each time Sparks is inflicted on a foe, permanently increase party's attack by 2%, stacks up to 15 times. So this is just a party-wide, essentially a 30% attack bonus. Again, it's cool, but not really needed for 30% attack. It's not a lot of attack. A3 is just a skill level up. A4 is just a increase from 3 hits to 5 hits and increases more spark stacks going. A5 is just a talent level increase, and A6 is kind of where we were able to start playing a little differently. Because Heartfelt Days, Summer Reminiscence gains the following effects. When dealing damage with Summer Remnants, increase crit rate by 35%. So you're now dealing more crit rate, more crit damage on, when dealing damage with Summer Reminiscence, increase critical rate by 35%. So now you're basically critting with your follow-up attack, and each time a foe takes a Summer Reminiscence effect, permanently increase damage taken by 5%, and this effect stacks up to 3 times. So 15% bonus damage taken, and at maximum stacks, increase critical damage taken by 20% more. This right here is just like Futaba's weapon, because Futaba's weapon at R0, like her just her base 5-star, gives a 15.6% crit damage, which you guys can see on the screen now. So at A6, we can now start kind of building Tomoko away from a prosperity set, which we'll talk about in a little bit, to more of a follow-up resonance attack base. Going into her weapon, so we have 2 options. We either go to her 5-star or we can use her 4-star. Of course, we should always look at her max ranked 4-star. So right here, when activating Summer Reminiscence, increase Tomoko's healing by 24.8% and gives 24% attack. This right here actually matters because of her, as we went over, this. Because when she has 42%, increased side damage by 70% and max HP by 2100. So this is the only way for her is to get to the to that threshold is by getting it, I believe right here, yeah. You always need a Forge 4 level of it, but realistically you go Forge 6 or R6. Or you can grab her 5-star. Her 5-star weapon, I'm going to be real, if you're looking for a straight damage-wise, damage bonus, her weapon actually when I was doing testing, gave more of a damage bonus than her A1 did. So R0 is way more, like, if you're looking for team-wide damage-wise, you should go for her weapon instead. It also is pretty drippy. I love this goofy-looking pink thing. It looks so cute and adorable. I just love it. Absolutely adore it. But what her weapon does, which is Bubble Babies, increases healing by 22%, so that's HP recovery, and increase multiplier for skill damage from Summer Reminiscence, and it's healing by 18.5%, so more follow-up damage and healing. And when activating Summer Reminiscence, increase the target's damage taken by 8.5% for 3 turns, and this effect can stack up to 2 times. Because realistically, this is a 17% damage increase, so even more. And then also decrease their target's defense and ailment resistance by 12% for 3 turns. And I'm gonna be real, basically every single turn you are getting your Reminiscence off. Because I'm going to be real, every single turn, I'm always getting it going off. Because all you need is 3 stacks on 1 target. And then with that, you're getting the 19.5% damage bonus here with the with the 17% from the weapon. And then you also got a 30% damage bonus right here. She actually buffs and debuffs quite a lot. And with the defense decrease, if you have A1 and R0 like I do, it's 45 plus 12%, 57% defense decrease. Again, it's nice, not really needed. She's perfectly fine at A0. I'm telling you guys right now, you don't need anything more. And I'm going to do another video on it why. Moving on to the Revelation cards, pretty easy. All of us are basically going to be looking at Prosperity with Trust. And the cards I'm looking at is, of course, HP. And all you're really focusing on is the attack percent. All you really need is just attack percent. So HP recovery for my moon. It doesn't really matter. I like attack percent and SP recovery the most, with a little bit of speed. Attack percent card here, and then lastly, attack percent card here. I would much rather be using my Prosperity and Trust, because of course it gives me my 25% highlight gauge, as well as the 8% party damage. And then let's say that you're using like Cord, for example. You actually change Cord to be using, instead of being Prosperity, you actually change her to being more of the debuffer role, actually. So what you're actually using now is the control set because of Departure. Because where is it? Departure and Control. When attacking a skill, decreases main target's defense by 23%. So very nice. More defense decrease. Not too bad. We like it. That goes over her cards. Like I said, for Summer Tomoko's cards, all I'm really looking at is really just getting attack, some SP recovery so I can continue spamming out skill 2 and 3, because she is, if we look at her abilities real quick, she is a little SP hungry. This is 27, this is 25. That's a lot. Like if you guys have don't know anything about Marion's also SP hungry, 25 and 32. So she uses in her 2 turns 5 more SP. So I think SP recovery is really nice on her, and a little bit of speed just to make sure at least she is going sooner than your main damage dealer. So your closers, your aunts, I wouldn't use Yusuke, for example, because he's a defense scaling, but your Makotos, any of those, Yuis, any of those, I would be using it instead. Next up, what we're going to be talking about is, of course, we're going to be talking about teams. Right now, I would say that anytime you're looking to be using Marion, you could actually be using S.Moko. You could honestly slap S.Moko on any team you want, is how I see it. Any team you want. Even Yui, maybe not Fox. I think Fox is really the only team, because Fox is just such a weird character in how he works, because he doesn't want any sort of attack, he just wants defense. But I would use it on every single team in the game, realistically speaking, if you need a healer. So any team I would put Marion on, I would put Moko on. And then, of course, in the future patches, we'll be looking at characters like Messa and Haru, where they actually start scaling off of ailment accuracy in some extent. So Messa, when we're using low awareness, we're supposed to do anything outside of A6 Messa, we're looking at more bleed-based Hunter Messa, where you need, I think, around, if I remember correctly, this could also change in the future, so everything I'm going to be talking about is absolutely up to change. As of what we've seen with Summer Closer, where she got rework, Mesa could also begin to rework, and we're kind of hoping he does to make him more in line and better. But Mesa needs around, I think, 90% ailment accuracy just to get the full bleed bonus buff, and as well as make sure he's always proccing bleed on his abilities, because he only has a 70% base chance of doing that. While Haru right now, again, this is current Haru. If you want to mid-max Haru, she is looking at wanting about 150% ailment accuracy, because of one, you want to always land your sight, which is one of your big You always want to be landing your sight on the enemies to make sure you boost the damage with your through your awareness, which we're going to talk about later on when Haru actually starts coming out. But also due to her talent of where she gets 20% crit damage buffing stack based upon for every 50% ailment accuracy for 3 stacks. And that's why you want that 150. You can also go above and beyond it, and it's not that big of a deal. But the 150 is where you want to land, so you get that 60% crit damage buff on it. But that's kind of what we're looking at right there. And Haru massively helps her out with that. Because Haru gives straight up 60% basically, or 58.6% ailment accuracy. And then also all the attack, which is what Messa wants, Haru wants. So they are getting a lot of what they want just from having Haru. But of course, you don't need, I want to tell you right now, you don't need Haru for her. It's more of like a mid-max thing as of right now when they first come out. In the future, when we're looking at our Wen Vasses, our Summer Marians, our Matoys, other things, realistically speaking, we're going to be using double buffers or buffer debuffer more often than not, except for when content calls for needing a healer, such as certain weeks on Guild Boss, or when you're trying to clear like story content. Because, for example, I would not want to go into, bosses such as, the Realm Repression without a healer. And then that's where I think Moko does a really good job. Obviously, in the future, of course, you can. I would say, I will tell you this. Even at A0, I think A0 without weapon, I think she's on par with A1 Marion. She's just base A0. She's on par with Marion at A0. But of course, with A1. But of course, with Marion, we can also get her fully duped out pretty easily. For example, when we get A2 and A6, etc., for free in the future once she drops into the standard. While with S.Moko, she's perfect fine at A0. You don't need any more. Well, I would say that Marion definitely wants that A1 in the future. So I think S.Moko is a very nice pickup. If you're looking for a healer overall, I think she's fine to have. I think she works brilliantly. She works really well. Her buffs that she received are nice. You don't need her weapon. I will say it's a drip pull for me. I love it. You don't need A1. A1, it was such a minor damage bonus. It doesn't, a minor damage boost to my team. It doesn't really matter as much. And considering we don't have a Marion, if you don't have Marion right now and you're looking for a good 5-star healer, I think S.Moko is actually really good. But I want to remind you guys, we're going to be getting Marion on standard in probably 3 months from now. Probably mid to late January is what I'm saying, because that's 6 months after the initial run. Marion came out July 10th, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we're looking at getting her probably mid-January. That's my recommendation. I think she's a brilliant healer. Of course, you don't need her. You don't need any character in the game. Technically, if you need healing, Luful does fine. If you have Mona, he does fine. If you have Marion, she absolutely will work. But if you want a second healer or a good healer right now, I think Moko works very well. Of course, Marion is a better throughput healer. She just has higher scaling with it. But I'm going to tell you, I think Moko is a better overall pick because she doesn't rely on overhealing. She can keep my team fully healed up every turn because of the fact that her follow-up resident healing is doing like 5k each time. And typically, I'm not taking 7k in one turn AoE. And then you also include the fact of Hail Summer Days. And she's basically keeping my team up every single turn, like full topped off every turn. She's a brilliant healer. I like her. I would recommend her. But of course, you don't need her. If you want to save for future characters like Messa, Futaba, Haru, Howler, Mont, etc., of course, save your stuff. But she does work at A0. If you get it lucky, beautiful. If not, skip her, move on. That's my recommendation. But with that, I want to end the video there. I hope you guys have a good day, good night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.